Hey everybody, so this week I'm going to do the tutorial in two parts. The first part is going to be looking at how to use the behaviors and rules that we've already covered to create a game, or at least the beginnings of a game. And the second tutorial will be introducing the new concepts that we looked at in the last class of using custom attributes as variables to keep track of things like score. So let's just very quickly go back through the Space Invaders type game that we created together in class. First of all, we created an actor that we called Good Guy, and this actor had the behaviors allowing it to move left and right and shoot. So we had the left key moving the actor to the left and copy paste the right key moving the actor to the right. And I can move around the screen with the left arrow and right arrow keys. Now, we haven't used the move behavior before. It's very similar to accelerate and to change velocity. It just gives us a linear movement whenever the key is being pressed. We also created a bullet, and our bullet had a change velocity behavior causing it to shoot upwards. And our bullet is quite small, say 10 pixels by 10 pixels. And back in our Good Guy, we could have it fire with, for instance, the space bar. And firing the bullet is actually just spawning the bullet actor at the location of the Good Guy. Previewing that, I can move left and right and shoot with the space bar. And the reason why the bullet moves is because of the bullet's change velocity behavior. As soon as it's created with a velocity of 300 in an upward direction. And then we had some walls, which I colored black so that they could be on the screen but invisible to us. And the walls are placed on either side of the screen. And then we also had a bad guy. I'll color the bad guy red. And game functions. And the role of the game functions was to periodically, using the timer, say every 2 seconds, spawn a bad guy. Now, when we place the game functions onto the screen, we can then decide where the bad guy is going to be spawned relative to the position of game functions. So let's try 100 pixels to the right and 100 pixels below the game functions actor. And there's our bad guy. We'll make the bad guy smaller. And give the bad guy some acceleration. So every 2 seconds, a bad guy is created. Now what we did to create the movement down the screen is we had a collide behavior so that when the bad guy collides with the wall, he bounces. I'm going to move these walls a little bit further off the screen so they don't interfere with where the bad guy is spawned. We also created a rule that when the bad guy collides with the wall, we make him move closer to the good guy. So we change attribute of the bad guy, his position on the y-axis, to y-axis position minus 50 pixels. So every time there's a collision, bad guy moves down 50 pixels. I'm going to slow down this acceleration a bit as well. Every 2 seconds we get a new one. Every time they collide with the wall, they bounce and move down a row. And as I always forget to do, and probably you forget to do as well, my wall needs to be not movable. So I turn off the Boolean movable. And so now I've got bad guys that are spawning every 2 seconds. My good guy can move back and forth and shoot at them. As we also saw in class, even though they're bouncing off of the wall, their acceleration is still to the right. So they also need to rotate we'll do it using a change attribute. Change the bad guys, rotation to minus 180 degrees or plus 180 degrees. Either way is fine. That will cause its acceleration to change relative to its rotation, and so it's going to keep accelerating in the direction that it's moving. And because it's acceleration, it moves faster and faster each time. I'm going to knock down this acceleration even more. So now we need to add some rules that cause the bullets to actually destroy the bad guy, which we did in class. By creating a collision rule that reduces the redness of the bad guy by 30%. Change attribute. What attribute? The bad guy's color red to the bad guy's color red minus 0.3. So 1/3 of its redness goes away each time it's hit. And we can say when its redness reaches 0, so when the attribute bad guy color red equals 0, destroy this actor. Now in order to see that happen, let's add a little bit of green to our bad guy so that we can see that he's actually gone when his red is removed. If it wasn't actually deleted, there'd be a green ghost left behind. Additionally, to keep our good guy on the playing field, we can have also the good guy collide with the wall, so the good guy cannot pass beyond the wall. Similarly, and we didn't add this in class, we of course want the good guy to be destroyed when colliding with a bad guy. Additionally, we want the bullet to be destroyed when colliding with a bad guy. Otherwise, the bullet affects the bad guy but just passes right through it. So overlaps or collides with bad guy, destroy. And then we have a basically functional game. We can shoot the bad guys and destroy them, but if allowed to live and they get down to us, they will destroy the good guy. Boom, good guy is gone. So I think that's as far as we can really go without introducing this new concept of creating an attribute within the game and using that attribute as a variable to store things like score or can the good guy shoot again. So I'm going to stop this tutorial here, make sure you have these concepts down, and then we'll move on to the new material.